Absolutely. The Sector 2 in this circuit is just something else. And especially the Maggots and Beckett section, that is a place where it's so easy to lose the car if you're not careful on the throttle. And it should be interesting to see how these drivers cope up with it.
In season 7 of Division 2 here. Conditions for qualifying seem to be cloudy, and the race we will get further information about. It's the UK. It rains all the time here in this part of the world. Silverstone is no stranger to wet races. In 2008, Lewis Hamilton won by by over a minute in very poor conditions. In 1998, Michael Schumacher served the drive-through on the last lap of the race in a race that probably would be cancelled today, if I'm honest. And there are many more wet races around here, so don't discount one. It is all part of the experience of racing in the United Kingdom. As we will go on board with Logan Dukes when it starts his lap. He's heading down the Hangar Straight, the fastest part of the circuit. About 325, 330 kph here, and then they're going to be braking for Stowe, which is only 2 downshifts in this generation, on this game. Only down to 6th gear as Logan Dukes enters the club corner, and he will begin his lap shortly, and we'll stay on board with him for a track guide of the Silverstone circuit. The Red Bull driver heading into the first corner. Abbey flat out in 8th gear, and then the same thing goes through Farm before diving onto the brakes for turn 3. Village, and then it's onto the loop. It's the slowest corner onto the track, just 90 kph, about 55 miles an hour before heading down Aintree, and then onto the Wellington Straight for the first of 2 drag reduction system zones on this 5.9 kilometer course. And now braking from 8th gear down to 4th for Brooklands Corner. It's a great place to make an overtake. And through Luffield, it's a long, endless right-hander that shoots you out onto the old pit straight before heading into Copse, which is probably the highlight of the circuit, if I'm honest. Flat out here, 8th gear, 300 kph, and then heading down into the best part of the circuit. Maggots and Beckett, 8th, then are 10, 300, 275, and then down to 220 for the slowest part of Beckett. Heading down the Hangar Straight. And it is a very good lap from Logan Dukes as he already gets a very good purple middle sector as he heads into Stowe. Only 2 downshifts in this generation of cars. It's easy to validate here. He hasn't done that. And then the final corner at Vale, down to 3rd gear, and then upshifting into 4th early through Club, and then it's a long exit out onto the final corner and onto the Hamilton Straight to end a lap of Silverstone as he goes fast with the 125.3. Wow. That's quicker than my bankers. Crazy low. .25.3 is more of a midfield D1 time, if I'm honest, as Gridjokes in the Ferrari goes second fastest. The Singaporean driver has not had the best of seasons last year, despite... And he'll be looking to improve on it as Duncan McCallum goes 3rd and Nick Hamrick, or Mr. Baby, in the Williams, 2nd fastest. As combined YouTuber. Yeah, 5th for the Aston Martin driver. And Nathan Dolan, the McLaren team principal on the medium tire, he's 8th. And Pototoskin is 6th. Ethan Patel in the Alpine is 9th, while Thierry 10th in his return. Dan Might, the Williams team principal, in 11th, and Campbell Lowry Hart, or OG, in 12th, and last of the drivers that have set times. See, though, he's making his way through that middle sector, but he doesn't have the fuel to complete it, which means this is an end lap, as X-Max is currently on a lap. Yeah, he's on a lap here. Purple in the middle sector. Let's see. Purple in the first sector. He heads through Maggots and Beckett. Here we go. And then through Beckett's itself. And then Chapel, the fast kink. It's a good run there. It's a clean and tidy run, but he's purple to sector 2. He's got a toe there from one of the Red Bull cars. I think that may have been Duncan McCama giving a toe to Max. It's down through Stowe and into the final 3 corners of the circuit. Fourth on the entry there. No hesitation. The car is nicely getting itself into shape up to the line. He's second with the 125.6. Could be all down in the middle sector, but we will see. Beamer NG, aka Anna Trivati, goes 5th fastest as Spanini only 0.02 of a second behind him, and Wild Poros in the Mercedes is 8th. Buzzgold is 9th in his home Grand Prix, and the only driver not to set a time right now is Steven Alvarez, and he's on his out lap, as Simon Colston is in last place. Steven Alvarez leaving his banker very late here in qualifying. That could be an interesting one. The new tire model is very reminiscent of those of F1 2018 or 2019, where a lot of the races were either the 2 softest compounds or the 2 hardest compounds, as Bridgeox left the session. Which means that for those drivers that there are a lot of strategy options. Do you want to be starting on used soft, take the punt, and gun it on the opening 3-4 laps, make up all the track position, and then defend for your life? Or do you want to have that tire performance at the back end of the stint and you overtake people on an aggressive overcut or an aggressive, or you go defensive? As Steven Alvarez in the McLaren here, he begins his flying lap. We'll be on board with him as he heads into turn 1. Downshifting to 7th for the first corner as Wild Fury is out. He doesn't interrupt the McLaren driver, and Steven Alvarez can go on his merry way into 4th gear there. It's not F1 22, and it's an interesting gear choice. I've seen lots of low gears, but straight up at a 4th out of the loop there for Steven Alvarez, and it's a 0.7. It's a 27.7 in the first sector. Yeah, one purple, but it isn't the fastest I've seen of first sectors. And we'll get his on board into the fastest part of the circuit, 8th gear, and then he'll he'll shift down to 7th. It's easily flat out. Cops in this new generation of cars, it is absolutely not a challenge. And then the 8th gear through Maggots down to 7th, and then barreling into 6th for Beckett's, and it's down to 5th gear there in a short shift. A bit of a switch on the rear. Yeah, he's got a twitch on the rear there, so the McLaren driver not very comfortable out here, and it is easy to have a situation like this where you could lose the car very, very quickly as he'll head down into the final 3 corners of the layout, down to 2nd, up to 3rd, through to 4th, and then it's going to be a short run to the line, and he is comfortably the slowest of all drivers by nearly 8. Quite a bit of safety there for Campbell Lowry Hart, but I think Steven Alvarez has a lot of time to improve on his lap. McLaren driver, as we'll be on board with Logan Dukes. He's a little bit down in the first sector by about 16 milliseconds. There's a Haas off its Ranger, letting people through. And they're absolutely sending it. Now it's an invalid. He's invalidated. We'll stay on board with Nick Hamrick in the Williams. Down to 3rd gear for turn 3, and then or about 3rd gear there. Just to be a quick option, and then up to 4th through to 5th. Taking a lot of inside curve to Aintree corner. As we see the Williams bounce through the bumps of the back straight. It's a purple first sector. It's about half a tenth up on his personal best as he goes through Luffield. count. He's just using the engine braking, and it is quite a powerful strategy around here with so many fast corners, but there are downsides. Obviously, Gridjokes retires from the session, and he's left it too, but we can't focus on him. We can only focus on Nick Hamrick. He is a 10th up in the middle sector. This could be a run here if he nails his final sector into Stowe. Bit of a downshift into 5th there. And then through Vale. Good line, but he's gone a little wide with understeer through the final corner. Up to the line he heads. It's a 125.8. He doesn't improve. As that's right on board with Duncan McCamick here. He is a 10th up in the middle sector. That could be possibly as high as P2 if he nails this final sector, the Red Bull team principal. He heads right down through Vale into the Vale corner. This is crucial for his lap here. A lot of people have bottled it. He's gone a little slow, but it could be safe. Up to the line. He goes second fastest with a 125.609. There's a lot of time to be made up in that final sector, I gotta admit there, Sid. A lot of time to... Oh, and X-Max absolutely bouncing over the curbs. This is not Imola, man. It's definitely cost him a lot of time. It has, and he's not improving on his time. Simon Colston goes third for the home crowds. Nathan Doan. It's small margins, very small margins. Nathan Doan of the McLaren is up in the 5th as he's on an end lap, I think. We see a... And I can tell you now, we have received confirmation that the race will be dry. We will be... And from second place to 14th at combined YouTuber, the field is separated by only 0.3 of a second. That just shows how competitive this grid really is. Even on a new season, it is a... This is what we love to see. Ranger is on a lap here. Let's on board with the Haas driver. And he goes through. Flat out there. A little bit cautious. And I think he's taking a lot of curb. But anything works. He's a 10th up on his time. Which means that he could get... Yeah, he could be up there with as high up as Gridjokes in the Ferrari. Who... And he's coming into the pits. Stay with Steven Alvarez as he heads through Brooklands. He's 0.3 up almost as he heads into Brooklands and then into Luffield. So he is making up a hell of a lot of time on his lap, the McLaren driver, as Jack Fletcher is out on track. And we're seeing cars now head out of the circuit as Steven Alvarez here goes through Cops and then through Maggots and Beckett's, sending one after the other. A bit wide of the apex in the second part of Maggots. A bit loose there on the run into Beckett's, but it's all significantly better. Half a second on his old time. Yeah, it could be there, could be more. No, he's gone very wide. That's going to count though. How? Yes, it did. I think he may have gained like a tiny bit, but he hasn't gained much. He goes 18, so he did gain quite a significant amount there, I think. He does. I don't think he does. I don't think he has the fuel. He has less than a lap of fuel, so that's it. That's it. The pressure is on here. And he just wanted to send it, but let's stay on board with Jack Fletcher, the other Ferrari driver, in place of Matteo today, who couldn't make the race. As he heads down into farm. Bit of a twitch there coming out of the left-hander onto the Wellington straight. Still going to be a lot of time. There is a lot of time to make and a lot of time to lose here. Anyway, flat into Cop's corner. Oh, and he's invalidated. That's not a lap, as the lap will not count for Jack Fletcher. That's it. He's going to get into, with a bankers of Ferrari, a poor qualifying to start their season off, as Grid Jokes is unable to get into his car because of a game bug for this race. As we'll stay on board with combined YouTuber. Starting a lap, the Australian driver. Into turn one, he heads at 8th in 8th gear, 295 kph. We're heading right down into turn 3, the first big braking zone on the circuit. The checkered flag is up, which means these are the laps that are going to count for our drivers. Anyway, combined YouTuber barreling through the loop with no real drama there as he heads down onto the Wellington straight for a 27.350 first sector, a 10th up on his personal best. And just keep... Let's see, will Logan Dukes get into the 1 minute 24s? No, he does not. 25.2. That's a D1 time. That's a border of the top 10, I think, in D1. Anyway, here we go. Combined YouTuber running a little wide there into the Maggots-Beckett's complex as he is about half a 10th up. If he wants to get out of that bottom 5, he has the final sector to help him. He needs to make up time fast, but he can make up positions even with half a 10th here into the final 3 corners. This is where he can make a time. He's gone a bit deep there. Going to impact him all the way down to the final corner. Up to the line. He goes into 14th. Dunk. It's a grid for your British Grand Prix. It is Logan Dukes, aka Lixon, on pole position by 2/10 over X-Max and Wild Porous, creating a Mercedes 2-3. Nathan Doan in the McLaren on a great showing up into P4. Duncan McCamick at the other Red Bull in P5. Simon Coulson leading Alfa Romeo's charge, in P6. Ethan Patel is in P7, Patodaskin in P8, and we will give you the rundown of the rest of the grid when we will get the final results. Anyway, Logan Dukes on pole position by nearly 3/10 there. That's a big margin as X-Max and Wild Porous create a Mercedes 2-3. Nathan Doan 4th, Duncan McCamick 5th, and the other Red Bulls. So great showing for them. Simon Coulson leading Alfa Romeo's charge in P6. Ethan Patel, another team principal, leading his own team, Alpine's charge in P7. Patodaskin in 8th. Wild Fury in 9th. Bosgood on the other Alpine in his home Grand Prix is down in 10th. Nick Hamrick, Spanini, Beamer NG all take positions 11 to 13 as combined YouTuber on a relatively disappointing outing in 14th place. But, Sid, who do you think will win today? Do you have any predictions on? It is a dry race here. And in a country with so much rainfall, surely is a bit of a rarity in the United Kingdom to get a dry race, but in real life, we haven't had one for a while. And in the game, it's also a dry Grand Prix. 26 laps for our drivers at this wonderful venue. Yeah, I think Logan Dukes the big favorite, maybe. But there is potential for anyone in the top 6 to really win this. Even if Simon Colston, even someone like Simon Colston could be an interesting shout, as we go for the formation lap, which has been turned on again for the first time since season 6, I think. A bald. It is. Yeah, he definitely. The first lap isn't as much of a pain. Anyway, the tire allocations: Logan Dukes, Nathan Doan, Duncan McCamick, Nick Hamrick, Spanini, Ranger, Jack Fletcher, Steven Alvarez, and Dan starting on the hard tire. Max, Wild Poros, Simon Colson, Ethan Patel, Wild Fury, Basgod, Beamer NG, Combined YouTuber, Grid Jokes, and Campbell Lowry Hart on the medium, and Patodiskin in the AlphaTauri is taking a big punt onto that soft tire, possibly in order to make up a lot of positions, I think. I've seen something we've been missing from the Formula 1 game last game, because the soft tire was so terrible. You just couldn't run it at any track, really. It was just a medium tire with significantly worse fall off. It wasn't really a soft. And it didn't have a grip advantage for much, and it didn't have a pace advantage for much either. So, coming from the back of last game, it's really nice to see that we're getting some strategy variation, and we could get an interesting start to this race with a lot of cars, a lot of closely matched drivers. And one thing to remember, tire drop-off on this new game is very, very aggressive. It's almost on par with F1 2013 levels, with how aggressive drop-off was there. It's not as bad as 13 when you hit the cliff, but it is a very aggressive drop-off, which means Patodiskin could be facing a big penalty if he destroys the soft tires at the start of the race. But we have 20 cars lining up in their grid spot for the British Grand Prix, and it will be 26 laps. Jack Fletcher and Dan have been reset, and Steven Alvarez too. 26 laps ahead of our drivers, and it is 20 cars, and it's lights out, and away we go in the United Kingdom. It's a good start from Logan Dukes. It's a good start from Wild Portugal, and he's going to get ahead of his teammate into turn 1 as Dan gets disqualified. Ethan Patel dropping a lot of places, and same with Ethan Patel dropping a lot of places. That's not been a good start, and same with Spanini, and same with Campbell Lowry Hart. A lot of carnage on this first lap as Jack Fletcher goes. Max has also dropped. Patodiskin on those soft tires, really not making the best use of them. As Grid Jokes is side by side with an Alpine. It hasn't gone well last game, but can it go up for the Singaporean driver? He goes down the outside of left field. It's a good place to make a move, and he's, I think, had a little bit of contact, but it is still side by side into Max Verstappen's favorite corner on the Formula 1 calendar. Wild Porus gets past. He gets past, he's leading. So the medium tire gamble for Mercedes has paid off here, and they have the extra performance on those medium tires. It'll be interesting to see whether they go for an aggressive undercut as Max fires it up the inside of Logan Dukes into Stowe. That's a bold move there. And now the end. And completely unnoticed, Grid Jokes with an amazing getaway. He's made up 4 places on the opening lap from 16th to 12th. A great start for the Singaporean driver. Anyway, the order at the end of lap 1 of 26. Wild Poros from Max, from Logan Dukes, Nathan Doan, Duncan McCormick, Bosgold going down the outside of his compatriot there. Simon Coulson has a bit of a snap out far, but he's going to have that outside line as Bosgold gets the snap back. And Patodiskin on the softs is going to get the biggest run ever, and he's got ahead. There's a bold attempt there as Nick Hamrick is overtaken by Beamer NG. Could Beamer be using battery? And he is using it very aggressively. He is down a little bit. As we see Nick Hamrick is on his slipstream, heading into Copse Corner. No overtaking here, obviously, unless you're Lewis Hamilton trying to dive up the inside of your championship rival. Mercedes have got to be happy with this. They've got ahead of their main rival here, and they control this race now. They have very little to lose. They have everything to lose, sorry, but they're ahead. Max can just park it and annoy Logan the entire first 10 or so laps of the race. That's Jack Fletcher getting a move done there, as Albert is also getting overtaken by 2 cars into the Vale complex. He drops to 19, as we have a bit of a twitch there coming from the people, as Ranger goes in for a twitch as well. There's some good battling in the back of the field. As Walter, getting loose out of turn 4. Grid Jokes is going to get the run. A combined YouTuber both don't have a lot of battery. He isn't going to get the run, though. The Ferrari driver, as combined YouTuber, goes a little deep into Brooklands. And Grid Jokes is all over the gearbox of that Aston. Doesn't even have the battery. The combined YouTuber aggressively dumping it. He's down to nearly 50. He's almost down to nothing already. And that's been a recurring problem with the Aussie driver. Aggressively dumping the battery and not recharging it. As X-Max leads the British Grand Prix, the Mercedes car swap places. Grid Jokes not quite there on combined YouTuber, but he could have to bide his time a little bit. It's only lap 3, remember, of a long race. There's a lot that could happen here. My YouTuber goes over the curbs, the final corner. As we see, combined YouTuber is right on the gearbox of the Williams of Nick Hamrick, so those hard tires really not looking good there off the start. He was disqualified indeed. Ooh, Wild Poros is onto the grass with Nathan Doan. He's off. They're both off. And they've been put into the midfield train of cars here. Combined YouTuber. Grid Jokes. Oh, look at Grid Jokes. Sorry to interrupt you, said, but look at Grid Jokes. He sent it up the inside of the cops. Combined YouTuber takes a mature decision and doesn't fight it. But that could leave the Singaporean driver vulnerable to an overtake down the hangar straight. Combined YouTuber is down to 10th. And Grid Jokes, a solid recovery. You have to say, he started 16th. He's already up into the top 10. As X-Max is absolutely checked out in the lead on those medium tires. He's leading up. He's living up to his namesake, Max Verstappen, as it's a battle of the Canadians. Wild Taurus versus Jack Fletcher. Going to be side by side in a turn one, and Wild Taurus gets the position. We see Grid Jokes on the back of that train, led by Logan Dukes in the Red Bull, with it's interesting that they're eating up into Max's lead, the Red Bulls, which means, but Max has a 30% battery advantage on them, and an even bigger advantage on Duncan. He's up Duncan on 41, Max on 78. That's nearly 40% battery advantage as Simon Colston and running in fourth place at home. Patodiskin making great use of those softs to get up once they have the grip advantage, and now that they're going to start dropping off they're going to start their drop off phase. It's now going to the focus here for Patodiskin. Really, it's not going to be the defense as Grid Jokes is not making a move on Nick Hamrick, but Combined Detour goes down the inside of Nathan Doan into the Stoke corner, but they're not. But these two are not done yet, are they? He's got the position. Yeah, but it's still a fight between Wild Taurus, Jack Fletcher, and Spanini. It's a big train at the back of the field here as down into turn one, Spanini goes down the inside. I'm not normally placed to see an overtake here at Silverstone, as we see Lot. Alvarez is sitting right here, actually. You're right. Alvarez is right there, but Campbell Lowry Hart as well is right there, as he goes a bit deep. Campbell Lowry Hart not touching that battery, while Alvarez aggressively using it. Same with Jack Fletcher and Wild Taurus, which makes sense because they're fighting hard side by side in the cups. It hasn't gone well in the past. In real life, it has gone well here. Wild Taurus holds the position, and now Jack Fletcher is on the rear of that. He's on the rear. There's a bit of contact between Alvarez and Campbell. It is a ballsy situation. It is not what you want to see. But Campbell Lowry Hart with using the battery when it matters most, and he's already almost up into P14. Everybody, it is a street brawl out here as Ranger absolutely dives it onto the curb, and Alvarez takes a trip through the grass. He takes a trip through that runoff area. No harm done. He's still in that train, Alvarez. He could still make out the places he's lost. But Grid Jokes here. He's sitting comfortably. Patodiskin, is starting to drop back from the medium runner, so those soft tires have, I think, got past the end of their peak grip. Yeah, they've definitely lost their peak grip there as he is struggling to get into DRS. And I think he will just about get in. Yeah, very tight. Talk about tight. He was... I think they've already fallen off from a grip perspective, but the mediums as well are going to start dropping off sooner than later, as it's again a fight between the Canadians. Wild Taurus versus Jack Fletcher. These two are not done yet heading into Vale. And Wild Taurus here cooking up an amazing run out, an amazing exit, and he's got the run of his life on. Yeah, but the problem is they've dropped behind now. Ethan Patel is the head of that fight, and then these These guys have separated themselves here. As Grid Jokes gets past Nick Hamrick, and Alvarez spins around in the infield at Aintree. No damage done to his car, but he has spun out. And brilliant racing. It is fun to see. Tire differences, fun to see tire differences, ERS, and actual overtakes play a role here into the race as Bosgott is going to go down the outside of Patodiskin. He's gone wide. He isn't going to make it. And Patodiskin holding on for dear life on that soft tire. 7 laps for the AlphaTauri driver. As Jack Fletcher as Campbell Lowry Hart gets overtaken into Vale. Very, very, very solid. Aspanini takes his position at the back there, having to lose a bit of time. As Wild Fury looks on the inside of Ranger. Wapor's again there with a big twitch out of turn 3. As Weird Jokes. Oh, and Buzz goes round. That's not good for his race. It's not done much as Beamer has dropped out of Patodiskin's DRS, unbelievably, as Nick Hamrick, the first driver to get a time penalty in this British Grand Prix. Very much so. He heads down into the final part of the lap here. Beamer NG. Campbell Lowry Hart already getting past Jack Fletcher, but it's not just done yet. These two scrapping away here, not losing a lot of time. Jack goes down, tries to go around the outside, clips the grass a little bit, and he's impinged on the inside by Campbell Lowry Hart, who takes a position as Beamer. Yeah, he's dropped off big time. Dropped off a lot there as Ranger fires it up the inside. Yep. Lost all of his places too. As Nathan Doan and Nick Hamrick fighting for position. These two have ended their battle, but Nick Hamrick is going to get a fat slipstream into Cops. He takes a mature decision, doesn't fight it. As combined YouTuber sitting comfortably in 9th place. In case of a safety car, combined YouTuber dropping out of DRS of Nick Hamrick. So as Potato Skin finally comes into the pits at the end of lap 10. It is a long center lap medium on that soft tire. What tire is he going to go on to? Is he going to go onto the hards or the mediums? We will find out. The AlphaTauri driver. So a couple of cars are pitting for the for the hards. Same with Patodiskin, sorry. He goes on to the hards. It'll be comfortably to the flag now. Just people trying to get an undercut done, really. Nothing too crazy. The hard tires don't seem to have it either. That is an interesting one. X-Max is not going to come in. We'll see who is going to do a medium to soft, because it is an option. It is available, but it just requires a lot of pace. Simon Colston and Grid Jokes come into the pits at the end of lap 11, and they're the next pile of cars to pit. Well, Steven Alvarez goes off big time, and he heads into the pits. Yeah, is it part of the Red Bull plan here to stay in that DRS and just Honda and Max combined and then destroy him? Patodiskin, there was a big undercut on a lot of people, and he is right up with Simon, but BioTuber as well, 2 seconds behind Grid Joke, so he's lost a little bit of time as BuzzGod has found his way up into 13. He was the one hit. X-Max in the Mercedes, very, very solid. He's stayed out 11 laps on these mediums, and probably going to be 12. He's not losing any pace of those Red Bulls, and he bites the bullet. He comes in, last of the medium runners to pit. Too late. I'd say around 13. Yeah. Yeah, we could see, I think, the hard runner start to pit at the end of this or next lap, because it's just really early. For soft, it's too early. For mediums, it's the perfect time. So they have to react here. Well, Max is exiting that pit lane down in 8th place, but completely unabated from Simon or Patodiskin. Won't affect it. Simon Colson with a big undercut, which could affect the Red Bulls, because one of them has to be coming in the next 2 laps as we get through the halfway point of this British Grand Prix. I think they're probably going to use it on their end laps. They don't come in. That's interesting. They're giving away track position, or are they waiting for a safety car? Ethan Patel around at Luffield. He's just taking a stroll to the grass. It's completely fine, but I'll go on. Spin Ranger, the first of the hard runners to bite the bullet for the mediums. As Steven Alvarez gets another time penalty. Oh, it's a potential thrown down the toilet. And on go the mediums for Ranger in the Haas. It's a big, brave, bald undercut he's gone for on the hard runners. See him out into 16th. Ethan Patel pit. I think they're probably going to use it on their outlaps on the hards. They're going to wait and just use it on their first run on the medium tire, just so that they can get this undercut deficit completely out of the window. Yeah, I said it. Logan is in. X-Max is not making up any time on Patodiskin here, but Just tires having to be warmed up and prepared, obviously. He's just warming the tires, I think, those tires. Let's see. He will be out well ahead of Logan Dukes. Well ahead. He's out behind. He's well behind Simon and Pototskin. They're going to have to overtake. Two cars on track here. They're going to have to get into DRS and just have to make passes on track in a DRS train. Yeah, he's out in the lead, but his pace on these hards hasn't been the best so far. He's inviting Pototskin, or is he maybe inviting Pototskin to get him to act as a buffer to the Red Bulls, perhaps? That'd be an insane tactical move, as Duncan McCammon gets a 5-second penalty. He sped. That's probably... I think that's on the death wrench in the Red Bull and Duncan's race there. He's lost a lot of time through an overcut, and he's going to have to pass people on the DRS trains on pure battery or raw pace. He's going to have to bide his time on those mediums and not burn them out. And he's going to drop to well outside of that top 4. A long way, but he's right on the buffer between Grid Jokes, and he's right splitting his teammate, and he's spaced out between what was I going to say? He is just ahead of Grid Jokes, but not too far behind. But Grid Jokes isn't too far behind him either. DRS train at the front of the field, but it's been an interesting one. The Red Bulls, they've got to start using that battery because they're the ones in a vulnerable position here. Logan has got to get in DRS as Nick Hammer gets past combined YouTuber into Luffield. He's trying to get into DRS so badly, but I don't think he's got into it. Let's say he hasn't got into DRS. He's going to get into DRS on the next straight, though, provided he doesn't spin. But Jack Fletcher finally comes into the pits. Could be. As Nick Hammer, combined YouTuber, sends it down the inside, but doesn't make it stick. He's gone up for the softs. He's gone bold. He has the tire advantage on a lot of these guys. Pretty big one, if I say so. As Logan Dukes goes up the inside of Simon Colson, it's game on for the Red Bull team here. They are starting to make up places. Wild Fury has a time penalty. I don't think Simon's going to choose to fight that one because he's got the tire disadvantage to Duncan. He'd rather be P4 than P7 as it is now game on. It is Max versus Logan here. They've both not got much battery, but it is game on. It's the time now. It is really the situation starting to reverse for these guys. the situation down at the Red Bull camp is pretty good because they've got the opportunity. Yeah, Max, twice the battery, but he's got a big disadvantage on tires. He's had some good defense. He's had some good wins in the pot. He's not actually... He won the title last season. Yeah, without a single win. Consistency's key, but I think now Logan Dukes has a significant overspeed on him with DRS, with Slipstream. It's going to be an easy flyby into the stall corner as he takes the lead of the British Grand Prix. I think that was going to be coming either way for Logan there on the medium. Yeah, he just... Duncan McCamick in the other Red Bull gets the fastest lap of the race at the 127.786. As, yeah, we have... He's looking like he will catch up to the back of those guys at any moment now, actually. But he's got the 5 second, remember, as Simon is going to go down the inside of Patodiskin. Will the AlphaTauri man hold it? Not really. He's going to try getting the cutback at Luffield. And that doesn't look like it's the case either. Alpha versus Alpha. And it is the Alpha fight. Yep. I think that could be the case too. That could be the case actually. Patodiskin gets down the outside of Simon Colston to get back up into third, but the situation regarding Duncan McCamick, yeah, he will have to get up and he'll have to gap these guys in the remaining 5 laps of this race. That's a very tall mountain. Very tall one. Let's see what happens here. Oh, he doesn't have many to pull out the gap, and he is going to go on the attack. Simon Colson, the first of these guys, he's pushed Simon around, giving him a bit of a tap, which means it could be anywhere, I think, for Duncan here. He'll probably be into Stowe, I think. And it won't be into Cops. He now heads down the back straight into Maggots, into Beckett's. It's going to be fast and furious here. And he heads out onto the hangar straight. He's got a very good run on Simon Colson. He's got past him. At Patoda. Oh, it's not great there. He's let him through, I think. He knows there's only 5 laps in this Grand Prix, which means there isn't a lot to fight for. Yeah, though, Duncan is just taking the more pragmatic approach, I'd say, to this. Yeah, who really is the big man here? A mechanic, not with a lot of battery. Patodiskin either, not a lot. As Simon Colston is again looking for a move, but he doesn't have the... He's making as Alvarez spins again, but no damage. It's just at the final corner, which means he'll be fine. As Buzz got on those hards, Grid Jokes is getting eaten up here. The medium runners have come to the Ferrari driver, and he's sent one on Nathan Doan. Is he going to hold it into Cops? He is. It's great defending from the Singaporean driver, and he's going to, I think, he might just send it. He's defended that beautifully. What a defense. That's amazing defending there from Grid Jokes. Let's see. Mr. Baby. Grid Jokes. Mr. Baby couldn't quite do it there as Grid Jokes is again valiantly defending. But Nathan Doan has the tire grip. He's just going to say no. He's going to force him out onto the curbs. And that's going to be the place lost there. Yeah. They've both just gone and pissed. They've both just pissed on his fight there. Really. Yeah. Not over till it's over. See, Duncan McCamick has started to pull away a tiny amount on Patodaskin and Simon, which means could the mediums be really falling off at this stage? In the first into the race, we saw Max pull out a consistent gap on them over the Red Bull guys, but has Duncan maybe used the tires up too much, or is he overheating them? It's interesting because he's not pulled away by that much. They're just both sitting into each other's DRS. Simon tries to make the move, but just doesn't have the time or the space given. Good defending from Patodaskin. Nick Hamrick on Nathan Doan. It is going to be a big slide from Grid Jokes. Or I think that was just lag, really. As Combined YouTuber is getting some flashbacks here. Jack Fletcher is all over the Aston Martin driver. All over him on those softs. Just, he's used them up to perfection. He has a chance of Ferrari with a great recovery so far. Yeah. Look, he's pushing him through the corner as Grid Jokes is going to get the DRS. Nathan Doan isn't. Nick Hamrick is going to go down the outside of Brooklands, and he's going to get it done. Not quite yet. It's going to be Nathan, so to go down the outside. He's going to have a cutback, a brilliant line as they're side by side into Woodcote and the national pits. As we see, are they going to go side by side into Cops? No, they are not. So it will not be a race-ending incident, which thankfully isn't the case. Anyway, let's see. Nick Hamrick is going to get it done, I think, on the outside at Stowe. It's a bigger braking zone. He's got it done up into 6th. As Jack Fletcher is going to absolutely send it on Buzzgod, who's got the oldest tires of the bunch here. Bit of a lock-up for the Alpine. But he's dropped behind. I think the hards as well might have begun to drop off too, because we saw it at the beginning of the race. Duncan was struggling. It'll be an interesting one to see what will happen in the end. Which, yeah, he's just gunning it at this point. Duncan McCammon gets a penalty. That, I think, has sealed it, the podium debate. I think it's sealed now. He's not going to be on the podium. Yeah, Simon gets the position, but as we've seen, it isn't over until the exit of club. That's where you'll have your position. As Ethan Patel goes onto the softs, that means he is going to the end of the race as Duncan McCormick is about to lap him, and he's going to get DRS from him too. As now, let's say Max has a 30% battery advantage, which means this could go down to the last lap. He's going to go it. He's going to go for it. He's gone into the lead of the Grand Prix. Yeah, maybe he... Yeah, into the last lap. It's an interesting one of the British Grand Prix. But let's see who really wins today. X-Max leads from Logan Dukes. He needs to dump it on all the straights. He needs to use it. This is his best opportunity. This is Logan's got opportunity as someone to spot in the background. Spanini gets a 3-second time penalty. As Logan Dukes is on the gear back to that Mercedes. Just trying to... Didn't use it, but let's see. Potato Skin has one more opportunity after this if he doesn't make the move stick. He hasn't just yet. Let's see. It'll be probably down into the final sector. As... Yeah, both of them. Yeah, Potato Skin was slightly more, but I think Logan Dukes here is starting to actually drop back a little bit. He's not there with Max. And I think Max is going to have it here. He is safe from the dive bomb. He is not in dive bomb range from any of these guys, as it's going to be down on Potato Skin. It's going to be down into the final sector. He's on the grass of 330 kilometers an hour. He sent it through. We see a Grid Jokes. Max wins from Lixon, but these two, side by side, who will be on the podium? Will it be AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo? It'll be AlphaTauri! AlphaTauri, Potato Skin is going to get the podium. Simon Colston is down in 5th. Grid Jokes is gone. He's out. He's out of fuel. A solid race has just gone in the mud, really. In the mud. That's quite a fortune. Yeah, P11 after penalties. Yeah, combined YouTuber and Jack Fletcher, big movers out here. Big movers. A very good race. Action-packed, yes, would be the right term. Action-packed, rammed full of excitement. And X-Max wins from Logan Dukes and Potato Skin. And we will get the result of this race. X-Max wins the British Grand Prix from Logan Dukes and Patotis getting his first podium after Duncan McCammon gets 8 seconds of penalties, 5 for speeding in the pit lane, and 3 for a track limits warning. Simon Colston is in 5th as the highest ranked Brit in his home Grand Prix. Nathan Doan in 6th. Jack Fletcher up 10 spots in 7th. Combined YouTuber up 6 in 8th. Same for Ranger in 9th. Wild Tours drops down 7. That's not a great race from him. Just unlucky. Grid Jokes up 5 despite running out of fuel on the last lap. Nick Hamrick losing place due to his 8-second time penalty. Buzzgold down at 13th. Campbell Lowry Hart up 6 spots. Wild Fury down 6, which is not a great race. Spanini down 4. Beamer in 17th down 4 as well. And the only driver to keep his starting spot, Steven Alvarez, 18th. Ethan Patel dropping 12 spots there. An unfortunate race. And Dan getting disqualified. Rounds out your drivers. And we will see you in Budapest next week. Let's get them done. We'll call it. Is in the call, which he isn't. He's not in.
Okay, so let's
he hasn't done the fighting. All right, we'll get our winner of the British Grand Prix, X-Max, here into the waiting room. Max, congratulations on your win. Tell us about your race and how did it go?
Thanks, man. Yeah, I just knew one thing from practice this week was that you need the tires at the end to fight with. Mediums, after 6 laps, they're the same as the hards. They just drop off so much, so I just knew at the end there, I just need to stick into Logan's DRS, and then anything is possible. And I'm really happy with the win, man.
Congratulations. For one moment, it looked like you weren't going to win, but
Logan just seemed
lap 25, actually, I overtook on the straight. I knew he led me to then overtake me on the last DRS straight. I tried to save as much battery as possible on the first half of lap 26. And then from I think it's the hangar straight, or at least the straight that goes to Cops, I just used all my battery. I had 60% saved up, and it was enough, luckily.
Yeah, I noticed that going into the Cops, he lost a lot of time to you, and that was such a great strategy by you. You thought ahead of time, and you just outplayed him, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. I have to say though, Logan, he's really quick. He's definitely gonna win races this season. But I'm happy that I got one.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
This is your first win, I think, in GRL, isn't it?
Yes, I am now a D2 champion and D2 race winner. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I absolutely can imagine. But yeah.
Anyway, see you in Hungary in 2 weeks' time.
See you in Hungary.
Yeah, let's get our P2 finisher, Logan Dukes, into the waiting room. All right, Logan, congratulations on second place. Tell us
Thank
how
you.
that went.
Went pretty good, other than the beginning getting backed up a little bit.
Could you please be a little louder because we can't hear you?
Yeah. Is this better?
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
I said I think the race went pretty well. Different
Uh,
strategies made it kind of difficult at the end, but looking forward to next race.
Yeah,
It's
going
going to be
into the
interesting and
last lap,
hungry.
I noticed that you didn't fight the move on the penultimate lap and let him overtake you. And then,
Yeah,
I
I was
think-
hoping to
yeah.
save a little bit there.
yeah, I thought that
I
was
knew
a
he probably had way more ERS, so thought I would be better off letting him by, save as much as I could, go for the move on the last lap instead.
yeah, that
Uh,
seemed to be a good
unfortunately-
strategy, but he somehow managed to pull a gap on you going into the last DRS straight.
Yeah, I got I got on the gas a little too early out of the corner before Cops. Then I want to say started burning, and he just had so much more. I couldn't burn it all to catch up before DRS, and then didn't have enough during DRS to get the move.
Yeah, he had twice the battery that you did, but considering that, you still managed to hold on pretty well.
Yeah, I'll definitely take it for first race of the season.
Yeah, man.
For the first race, you've definitely got the pace to win out here in D2.
Oh yeah, and I plan.
I think
on-
even I, who competes in D1, I don't think I would have won that.
Absolutely.
Anyway, see you in Hungary. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the British Grand Prix. X-Max is your winner from Paul, and we'll see you in the hills of Budapest
Have a good night,
next
everyone.
Saturday.
Cheers.
Have a good night, everybody. See you next week.